The air in the kitchen felt wrong, like it had been holding its breath too long. I stood frozen, the half-empty coffee mug trembling in my hand, as Sarah's voice cracked through the haze. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, her eyes darting to the floor, where the tiles gleamed too brightly under the morning light. Her words hit like a blade slipped between ribs, quiet, precise, and devastating. I wanted to scream, to demand what it was, but my throat clamped shut. All I could do was stare at her hands, twisting the hem of her sweater, unraveling threads like she was unraveling me. For weeks, I'd sensed something off. The way she'd linger at the door after work, her phone screen tilting away from me just a fraction too quickly. I'd chalked it up to stress. Her late nights at the gallery, the pressure of curating her first solo exhibit. "You're imagining things, Tom," I'd told myself, laughing off the unease. But now, standing in our too-quiet kitchen, her confession hung like smoke I couldn't wave away. She hadn't said his name yet, but I knew. I'd seen the way Daniel, her colleague, looked at her at a gallery opening last month, his hand brushing her arm, her smile lingering too long. "Say it." I finally croaked, my voice sounding foreign and brittle. "Say what you did." Her lips parted, but no words came. Instead, she reached for me, her fingers grazing my wrist. I jerked back, the mug slipping from my hand. It shattered on the tile, coffee splattering like blood across the floor. "Tom, please," she whispered, her voice thick with tears. "It was a mistake. One night, I swear it didn't mean anything. One night, the words burned, searing through the life we built. 6 years of mornings like this, of her humming off-key while scrambling eggs, of me kissing the back of her neck as she painted in the garage. I wanted to believe her, to cling to the version of Sarah I'd loved since we were 22, sneaking cheap wine in the park. But the truth was a splinter under my skin. She'd chosen someone else, even for a moment. I turned away, my boots crunching over the broken porcelain. "I can't do this," I said, grabbing my coat from the hook. Her sobs followed me to the door, but I didn't look back. The cold November air slapped my face as I stepped outside, the street unnaturally still, as if the world knew I was breaking apart. For days I drifted. I crashed on my brother's couch, ignoring his questions, my phone buzzing with Sarah's texts. "I'm sorry. Please come home. We can fix this." I deleted them without reading the rest, afraid her words would pull me back into the lie of us. At night, I replayed every moment, searching for clues I'd missed. The late-night calls she'd taken in the other room, claiming it was her boss. The perfume on her scarf that wasn't hers. I'd been blind, painting over the cracks with trust. A week later, I went back to the house to grab my things. The key felt heavy in my hand, like it didn't belong to me anymore. Inside, the air was stale, the silence deafening. Her paintbrushes lay scattered on the dining table, dried and crusted, as if she hadn't touched them since I left. I moved quickly, stuffing clothes into a duffel bag, avoiding the photos on the walls. Us at the Grand Canyon, her laughing in my old baseball cap. Then I saw it. An envelope on the kitchen counter, my name scrawled in her jagged handwriting. I almost left it there. Part of me wanted to burn it, to erase her final attempt to claw her way back into my heart. But my hands betrayed me, tearing it open before I could stop myself. The letter was 3 pages long, her words spilling across the paper like a confession to a priest. "Tom, I know you hate me right now, and I don't blame you. I've been sitting here for days, trying to understand how I let this happen. I keep seeing your face when I told you, the way your eyes went dark, like I'd snuffed out something inside you. I did that. I know I did." She wrote about the gallery, how the pressure had hollowed her out. Daniel had been there, always lingering after hours, offering praise when she felt like a fraud. It wasn't love, she swore, but a moment of weakness, a need to feel seen. He listened when I was falling apart, and I let it go too far. Her words were raw, unpolished, like she'd written them through tears. She didn't ask for forgiveness, not directly. Instead, she wrote about the night we met, how I'd spilled beer on her shoes and laughed so hard I couldn't apologize. She wrote about our wedding, the way I'd whispered, "We're unstoppable," during our first dance. I sank to the floor, the letter trembling in my hands. Each sentence was a knife, cutting deeper, but I couldn't stop reading. She described the guilt that had eaten her alive, how she'd pushed Daniel away the next morning, horrified at herself. I told her it was over, that I love you, only you, but I couldn't tell you the truth. I was too afraid you'd leave. And then, the final paragraph, I'm not asking you to come back. I don't deserve that. But I need you to know I'm leaving the gallery. I'm moving to my sister's place in Portland. I won't fight you on the house or anything else. I just want you to be okay. Tom, you're the best thing I ever had, and I broke it. I read it twice, then 3 times, searching for a lie, a manipulation. But it felt true, brutally, achingly true. My anger surged, then faltered, tangled with the love I couldn't unfeel. I wanted to hate her, to let her betrayal define her, but her words painted a woman I still recognized. Flawed, human, drowning in her own regret. I drove to the gallery that night, not sure why. The lights were off, the windows reflecting the city's glow. A sign on the door read, "Close until further notice." I stood there, imagining her packing up her paints, her dreams, her mistakes. I wondered if she'd already left for Portland, if I'd ever see her again. Back at my brother's, I couldn't sleep. Her letter sat on the coffee table, its edges curling. I kept thinking about what she'd written. You're the best thing I ever had. I hated how those words warmed me, how they made me miss her even as my chest ached with betrayal. I want to call her, to yell or cry or beg her to explain why she'd thrown us away. But I didn't. Instead, I folded the letter and tucked it into my wallet, a weight I wasn't ready to let go. The twist came the next morning. My brother handed me a package that had arrived at the house, forwarded from our mailbox. Inside was a small canvas, one of Sarah's paintings, a field of wildflowers under a stormy sky, the colors so vivid they hurt to look at. Taped to the back was a note. I painted this the day after. It's how I felt, beautiful, broken, and still reaching for you. I stared at it, my throat tight. She was gone, but she'd left me this, a piece of her soul, raw and unfiltered. I didn't know if I could forgive her, or if I'd ever want to, but as I traced the brushstrokes, I realized something. Her betrayal hadn't erased our love. It had scarred it, maybe forever, but it was still there, stubborn and unyielding, like wildflowers pushing through a storm.